Everybody knows how to make scrambled eggs, or I'd hope so, and how you cook them is down to personal preference. Smoked curds, big curds, creamy curds. But recently I found another type of curd, the Hong Kong diner style scrambled eggs.
Forgetting you don't love me no more. Keep forgetting you don't want me, that you didn't want me around anymore.
Courtesy of a guy called Lucas Sim. This guy's presentation is absolutely magnetic. Go check him out, he's on a channel called Food 52. But now, back to our presentation.
If you're gonna put these in a sandwich, know that a standard square bread slice takes 2 eggs comfortably, meaning that you're gonna need 2 eggs per scrambled egg sandwich. I'm cracking 3 here because that's just how many I usually put in my scrambled eggs. Anyway, so far, you just scramble your eggs as usual. But here's where things change. We'll take a little bit of corn or potato starch, whichever you have or prefer. We're gonna add a splash of water to it and make a slurry. And use your finger. Honestly, this is the best tool for the job. To that, we're gonna add maybe a teaspoon of neutral oil, a pinch of salt, a pinch of MSG, and a pinch of sugar. I know what you're thinking, relax, your eggs are not gonna be sweet. It's a balance thing, just trust the process. And then we're gonna add the slurry into the scrambled eggs. Now let's talk about the frying pan. That's the next important bit. You want it dripping hot, to the point where when you pour canola or whatever other type of neutral oil you pour in, it almost starts smoking. If your pan's hot enough, after a few seconds, you should start seeing these ripples in the center. That means you're ready to cook. Switch off the heat and then pour your eggs in. You should have plenty of residual heat in the pan, and these are gonna cook in about 30 seconds. If your pan's hot enough, it will have become non-stick as well. You wanna go in with a straight spatula and do these long strokes. We're going for big curds. You want to form some large ripples, almost like folds in a cloth. The cornstarch is activated by heat, which means that emulsion is gonna thicken and keep everything super creamy. Honestly, that's the only way I've been eating eggs for a little while now. You really don't want to overcook these. Remember that the residual heat is gonna keep cooking the eggs after they leave the pan. So once you think they're almost there, think about how you're gonna eat them. If it's gonna be in a sandwich, then try to coax them into a more of a square shape. And speaking of sandwiches, let's talk about the bread. Nothing fancy here, you just want the cheap, white, pre-sliced stuff. The eggs are the real star here, everything else is just here to support them. You want to take the crusts off, if you can even call them that, and we're gonna toast them. Yep, with mayo. We're going for a super thin layer. Basically imagine that you put mayo on by mistake and you're trying to get rid of it. It makes a crispier and a lot less fatty toast than butter does. And I'd say that's the only way to go if you're making a grilled cheese sandwich, for example. But back to our sandwich. We'll toast only one side, and that's gonna be the one that's gonna be in contact with the eggs. We want some crunch, but not too much, so that it takes away from the texture of the eggs. And I think it's kinda obvious, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Toast your bread before you cook the eggs, which are coming straight out of the pan. Get them to fit as best as you can on the bread. Do a little trim if you have to, but the neater you can get this to look, the tastier it's gonna be for you or whoever else is gonna eat this. I know you think you can imagine how this tastes, but these are really different. The salt, MSG and sugar combo is really interesting, and the starch slurry makes these super creamy without them being runny, which I really don't like in a scrambled egg.
Now, these are really good as they are, but they're also a blank canvas, so you can take them in whichever direction you want. I'm gonna take mine in a cheddar and jalapeno direction.
And if you ever wanted to use a block of cheddar instead of the pre-grated stuff, now's the time. The pre-grated cheese is coated in starch to prevent it from clumping, which ironically makes it really bad at melting. So put aside 20 seconds of your super busy schedule and grate your own cheese. As for the jalapenos, we're just gonna give them a once or twice over with the knife. The eggs, we just prepared them the same way we did before. And just like before, they go into the super hot pan. As soon as they start setting on the bottom though, I'm gonna go in with the cheddar and the jalapenos. I tried putting them inside of the mixture as well, but I found out that the pan is too hot. And the cheese split a little bit. Okay, maybe a lot of it. But yeah, we want the eggs to take the initial blast of the heat, and then we can add our cheese. There's still plenty of residual heat in that pan to melt the cheese, and remember to stir the eggs around the whole time. Oh, and let me tell you, if the plain eggs were good, these were absolutely incredible. It's like a breakfast burrito or a sandwich meets chili cheese tops. I wouldn't be mad at some bacon or some breakfast sausage in there as well. I'm just saying.
Hold on, let me share a little food styling hack with you. You know those shots where they pull apart a sandwich or a slice of pizza and you get that cheese stretch? Here's how it's done.
Once we've done the cross section, we take off the top slice. And then we go in with a little bit of extra cheese that we're gonna melt. Now I have a little torch that I'm gonna flex, but you can just put this under a very hot grill. Then we put the bread back on, and voila! I'm not exaggerating, this is the only way I've been eating eggs for a few months now. It's a super tasty, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys, a new way to eat eggs. And again, you can tweak these in any way you want. Give them a try, I'm sure you'll like them. Roll.